Hey, what is up everybody? Michael Crump back here again, and I just picked up Resident Evil Requiem just a couple of days ago, and I thought that I would just go ahead and take a look at this and put this inside of a jailbroken PlayStation 5 and fire up PS5 Explorer just to take a little bit of a look at the contents here. So let's go ahead and pop over to a jailbroken PlayStation 5 and take a look at this game. Okay, so over on my PlayStation 5, I am sitting here on a 10.01 machine. So back over in the main menu here, again, you can see that I'm jailbroken. I'm gonna go ahead and insert the disk into the drive. Okay, you can see the icon spinning up there at the top. Okay, right there is Resident Evil, and it is automatically copying. There you can see it's been added to the downloads. Now, the reason that this is now beginning to copy over is because, again, this is a jailbroken system and the firmware is beyond what is required. So if you do go ahead and let this install completely, it will absolutely not run on a 10.01 system. So let's go ahead and let's go over to PS5 Explorer here. Right there we can see mount and then disk, and the very first folder we'll go into is going to be the license folder, and you can see there is a .rif there. If we go up and go into the BD folder, right here is the param.json, which has a bunch of information that I'm sure folks have been wondering about. So I'm just going to scroll down into this. There is the data ID or the title ID, and if we scroll down here, it says disk number 0. Disk total is 1. This is master version of 1.00 hub tools, and very interesting here, it states that the required system software version is a 12.20 machine. So I did not know that. I had been expecting this to only run on a 12.70 machine, but having 12.20 is absolutely interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back here, and we will go into app, and here we can see that this is where the app itself actually lives. So again, we've got a couple of PKGs here. The app 0 is sitting at 51.4 gigabytes, so that is going to be how big this game is going to be on your hard drive. And at least as of this moment, there is already a patch out, and I believe that patch was right around 10 to 15 gigabytes on top of that. Now, if we go over here and go into the app.json here, you'll see here it says number of split files 2, and then original file size, and then we can see the package digest. Again, a little bit more information about the two pieces. So disk number 0 and disk number 0. A little bit of the playgo chunk hash URL is listed in here. So anyways, there is some of the data that is currently available. And if we go back another folder and then back again, we can just go into PS5, and right there is the update, and this one is going to be a 12.20 update. Now you can see right up there it says 11/24 of 2025, and I think that is pretty much right for 12.20 to come out. Obviously they put the updates on the disk in order for you to update your system without a network connection. Now normally you would probably see me coming in here and adding a game to the Prospero patches database, but this one has already been updated a couple of days ago, and right here is that patch that I was mentioning. And what we can see is that the 1.100 patch, this one required 12.40, and now the very latest patch is requiring 12.70. So yes, it is very interesting to note here is that if you do have a PlayStation 5 on 12.20, looks like this game is going to run just fine. Well, here is the game fully installed on a 10.01 jailbroken PlayStation 5, and well, this is what happens. It says can't start the game or app, the data is corrupted, and well, you really will not be able to get past that screen. Today, I thought I would do a bit of a unboxing and a first look at Pragmata and go ahead and put this in a jailbroken PlayStation 5. Now, I did one of these videos recently with Resident Evil Requiem, and well, it seemed like folks really liked seeing what was on the disc, so I thought I would do it with this one as well. So let's go ahead and get this thing opened on up and let's see what is inside. Okay, so opening this thing up, there is no paperwork, no manual, but I guess that is to be expected with these new games that come out. And right there is what the game disc looks like. And it has some very cool artwork on the front of it. Anyways, pretty cool stuff. So in looking at the case here, it does look like there is some additional artwork that is inside. So let's take a quick peek at that. And right there it is. Hugh and Diana, I believe, is their two names. And just a little bit of information there. Again, there's the back cover. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this disc and let's get ready to put it in our PlayStation 5 that is jailbroken. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop the disc in there. And there we go. Okay, and so it is queued up for copying here. So we're just going to go ahead and let this finish copying and then we will explore the game. Now, obviously the reason that it is copying there is because I do have ETA Hen running, and of course the SDK version has been spoofed to a later version. So that is the only reason that it is copying. Okay, and so now that has been installed here, and if we come down to information, we are on the 1.00 release. Now you can see there that this game is 32.76 gigabytes, and there is an update that is available for it. So if we went ahead and tried to play the game, then you'll see here, you know, again, we can't start the game or the app. The data is corrupted. Again, this will not work at all on a 10.01 PlayStation 5. So at this point, let's go ahead and load up PS5 Explorer here, and let's take a look and see what is on the disc. Okay, so now that we're inside PS5 Explorer, let's just go down here and let's go to the Mount folder, and we're going to go to Disk, and right there we can see that the PS5 folder is going back to 12/21, and if we go inside of that, we will see an update there, and the update on this one is right at 2 gigabytes. So again, it's kind of interesting to see the date there because we can determine which update is actually on the disk. Next up, if we go into the app folder here, we can see we have the title ID, which is PPSA 02530, and if we go inside of that, we have our CRC file as well as the app.json, which is always kind of interesting to look into. So we can see we've got a number of split files, 2 here, and disk number being 0. And if we scroll down into this, then yes, it will just give us a little bit more information about the file size. Yeah, that's pretty much going to do it here. Just a little bit of play go information. So let's go back here and we will have our 2 PKGs. So again, the app_0.pkg is at 30.4 gigabytes, and then the app_sc is at 70.2 megabytes. So let's go back and let's go into the BD folder here. And so let's jump straight into the param.json file. And from right here, we can see that this is the master data ID, again, the title ID, and this is the play disk. There was only one disk, which of course it starts at 0. And so we can see master version at 0.1.00. So you are getting the 1.00 release. And then right here, we can see the required system firmware. And this one is going to be 12.40. So pretty interesting stuff there. This game, bare minimum, would need a 12.40 machine in order to get up and running. Anyways, that's pretty cool information to know here. I kind of was expecting something else. So we'll go ahead and we'll go back here. And again, there's just a license file in here, which just has a RIF file. And yeah, we can't view that as ASCII text. Now, just like with Resident Evil Requiem, I normally take a moment to show you how to add this to Prospero patches. Now, I'll leave a link here that shows you exactly what you need to do. as well as an existing video that I've got that shows you. But if we take a look at Pragmata, you can see that right here is the title ID, which matches up, and that somebody has already added this one. As we can see, we've got patch 01.00 that has been added, which again goes to that 12.40 update. Now, this one was added quite a while before the release, so again, not really sure how they get these discs super early like that, but we can also see that the very latest patch that came out, which is 01.200, this one was sitting in at 31.2 gigabytes, and now they've bumped up the required firmware to version 12.70. And this is, at least as of the moment, the very latest patch that was out. I thought that I would take a look at a new game disc that just came out, since it seems like some folks really enjoyed the one I did for Pragmata and Resident Evil Requiem, and this time I'm going to be doing it with 007 First Light, which I just got in the mail just a few moments ago. So here is what the front of the cover looks like, and if we take a look at the back here, you can see that it is going to be about 80 gigabytes. It said 80 gigabytes as the minimum on there. So let's go ahead and let's open this on up, and let's see if this comes with any sort of a manual or anything like that. But let's see what we've got in here. So opening this right on up, we do not get a manual or any sort of pamphlet. All we get is the game disc, and right there it is. It says 007 First Light. It's pretty plain cover there, but anyways, I just wanted to show you what this looks like. So let's go ahead and get ready to pop this into my jailbroken PlayStation 5. Now, it does say internet required there, so we will have to keep that in mind. Okay, so I'm over here on my 12.00 PlayStation 5, and if we go ahead and we scroll down here from settings, you will see that we do have the debug settings menu here, so we are completely jailbroken. And so what I have done is I have went ahead and I have inserted the disk into the drive here, and it has went ahead and copied over successfully. Now, as I stated in the other videos, it absolutely will do so, because this PlayStation 5, when it's jailbroken, is on like a 99.99 or something like that, and it will always install these game discs. Now, this has been rumored to be 13.00 firmware, and so this disc should not play on a PlayStation 5 12.00. Now, this PlayStation 5 does not have any sort of internet, and so if we come over to information here, you will see that the size is stated at 45.72 gigabytes, and the version number is 1.00. So if we go back here and we try to run this game, you'll see we get our typical message here, which states can't start the game or app, the data is corrupted, delete the game, and reinsert the disk again. So this game will not run on this PlayStation 5 at this time. So let's go ahead and let's go into PS5 Explorer, and let's see exactly what's on the disk. So we're going to go root access here, and we're going to scroll down to mount, and then we're going to go to disk, and then right up here at the top you can see we've got the PlayStation 5 folder, and so if we go inside of that, it has update here. Now the date here is 3/23/2026, so this update is going to be more than likely the 13.00 update. Now, one other thing to keep in mind here is that the file size is showing at 2 gigabytes. Now the updates are usually right around 1 gigabyte, but these full recovery files, which is what is needed on this disk, does have the full thing, so that is why it is 2 gigabytes. From there, we can go into the app folder, then we'll go inside of the game folder, and again we have our app.crc as well as we have an app.json file, and so from here you can see it says number of split files at 2, disk number 0 because there isn't multiple disks, the file size here, which is pretty interesting, that looks to be right around 45 gigabytes, and then we have our app0pkg, which we can just go look at in just a second, and then we have the second file, which is app_sc.pkg, and then at the bottom is the playgo chunk crc hash value, as well as the chunk CRC URL, which we really can't do anything with. And then right here is that app_0.pkg, and it is at 42 gigabytes, and the app_sc at 90.8 gigabytes. So let's go ahead and let's go down into the BD folder, as the param.json is going to give us the information we are looking for here. So we can go ahead and take a look at it. It says master data ID, and then it says play disk number 0, and then master version at 1.02, and then right there it is. It says required system software version, and this one is at 13.00. So now we have 100% confirmed it. Okay, and so if we go ahead and go back, we will see a license that's left on the disk with just a RIF file in it. So anyways, that is the full disk and the contents that's on it for 007 first lot. Okay, so if you point your browser over to prosperopatches.com, this is where you can check and see which PlayStation 5 games have been added to the database, and you can get all kinds of information in here. So let's start by coming up here and let's type it in 007, and right there we can see 007 first slot with the title ID PPSA11386 is already in here. But if we go ahead and we scroll down into this, we can see that the latest patch is out for 13.20. Now, if you want to learn how to go ahead and submit your own, it's actually pretty easy. The very first thing that you would want to do is you'd want to come over here on Windows and download this tool here, which is called HXD. So this is a hex editor, and this is going to be how we're going to find what information we need to provide Prospero Patches. So just go ahead and get that downloaded. The next thing that you would want to do would be FTP in to your jailbroken console, and you're going to want to take the app_sc.pkg and then just download that somewhere on your computer. So now I'm going to go ahead and open up HXD, and we're going to go File, Open, and I've just went ahead and selected the app_sc, and as you can see right here, this is 007 First Light. So from here, we're going to come up to the search, and then we're going to go find here, and we're going to search for a -version.xml, and we're going to go search all here. And right there, we can see that it has highlighted the version.xml. And so from here, we are going to grab this text, so highlight it, and we're going to go copy. We're going to open up a new tab, and we're going to paste and go, and we're going to go to advanced, and then we're going to go to proceed. And right here is going to be the manifest URL that we would submit to Prospero Patches. So we're going to take that and we're going to go copy over here, and then we're going to come into Prospero Patches and we're going to go add a game, and we are going to submit by JSON URL, and let's go submit here, and there you can see this one is already in the database. Well, today is when Mouse PI for Hire Physical Edition comes out for the PlayStation 5. And well, what I decided to do was just to go ahead and pick this title up and do another video similar to these other ones that I've been doing for like Pragmata, Resident Evil, and more, where we really just kind of take a look at the game disc, see what files are on it, and well, just see if the thing will run over on a jailbroken PlayStation 5. So let's go ahead and kick the tires a bit. Okay, so I am back over here on my PlayStation 5, and this one is my 12.40 machine. So I'm just going to jump over here, and there we can see we're on 12.40. Now I went ahead and ran Patience to Jailbreak, and I am jailbroken at the moment, mainly because after this has installed, we're going to go and look right over here in PS5 Explorer and view the contents of the disk. So first off, let me just go ahead and insert the disk as is on 12.40 machine, and let's see what happens. Okay, and so there it goes. It is starting to copy over here, and we can see that as far as the disk goes, it's only at 9.08 gigabytes. since I am already jailbroken, pretty much any game would automatically copy over, even if maybe, for example, this disk was a 13.42 SDK, which we don't know at this moment. It would totally go ahead and install as it's doing right now. Okay, so it has finished copying, and right there we can see it says can't start the game or app. The data is corrupted, and that is because the required firmware for mouse PI for hire is definitely greater than 12.40. Now, one thing I do want to check since this has been installed is that if we come back over here to information, we can see that by default this comes shipped with version 2.0. So anyways, if you're wondering which version ships straight off the disk, that is what it is. And this one looks like this would be completely playable offline, which is absolutely fantastic. And again, just another big win for physical game users. So let's go ahead and let's pop this into PS5 Explorer and take a look over there. So we're going to go into the root access here, and we're going to scroll down to mount and disk. And right here you can see that on April the 28th, 2026 is the timestamp of all of these folders on the disk. So we'll go to PS5 and then we'll go into the update folder, and there is a PS5 update.pup that's there that is on every single game disk. And then we'll go into the app folder, and then right in here we could take a look over here at the app.json. It's not going to really tell us anything because it's just going to be calling out that app0.pkg as well as the app_sc.pkg. But anyways, there it is regardless. And again, we can't open or look at those inside of this tool. So let's go back to BD, and right there is the param.json. And so right here we can see it states that the master data ID is PPSA 26578. And then if we scroll down into this, we can see that the minimum software required version is going to be 13.0. Yeah, there would not be a whole lot that we could do with this. Now at this point, it's always nice to be adding these into Prospero patches, and it's actually very easy to do so. So if you go over here into the app folder and then you go down, and you will see there is an app_sc.pkg. You can just go ahead and press triangle in this example, and you're just going to want to copy that over to your USB drive. So here I'm going to go send to, and then I'm going to go USB 0, and I'll give this just a second here. And now that file has been copied to my USB drive, and we'll need to take that over to our PC in order to get this one added to Prospero patches. Okay, so back over on your computer, what you're going to need is you're going to need a hex editor. And so the one that I always use is just this one right here. It's called HXD. It is completely free, and you can just go ahead and get that downloaded. Now, this is for Windows users. And now once you do that and get it installed, you can go ahead and launch it, and then you're going to need to come over here to file and then open, and then just go ahead and open up the app_sc.pkg wherever you have it located. In my example, I just left it on my USB drive and just pointed HXD directly at that. And so you can tell pretty quickly if you have the right file, as you should see the title ID just right up here, and again that matches what we had. And so now we're going to go to search, and then we're going to go to find, and we are going to search for this -version.xml and then select OK. And so once you do that, you are now going to have the URL that you need. So if we go ahead and we select that entire piece there, and now we select copy, we can go ahead and paste that in a web browser. Okay, so I just dropped that string in there. I'm going to go ahead and go to advanced and then proceed. And so right here, this contains the information that we're going to need, and that is the manifest URL. So if we go ahead and we select this entire manifest. I can come over here and go to copy, and we'll just go ahead and open that up in another window here. And this is what we need to submit over to Prospero Patches. So from here, we're going to go ahead and go to Prospero Patches. We're now going to select add a game, and we are going to submit by JSON URL. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste that in there. Again, it will end with the .json. And once you let this process, you will be able to come back, and now it will be indexed successfully. So right here is that release, and what we can see is that the game itself, as we understood, was on 2.0 by default. So it at least had all of these previous patches that say Steam users had. So if you do go just by the disk install itself, there is a few patches here. There's 3 of them that it looks like you would be missing out on, and these latest patches are obviously going to require 13.42. I wanted to take a look at Halo Combat Evolved Physical, and what I wanted to do was I wanted to go ahead and put this in a jailbroken PlayStation 5 and just kind of kick the tires a little bit, and then take a look at going ahead and putting this in a completely up-to-date PlayStation 5 running 13.60 and just see what the installation experience looks like. Now, I have been told that there is absolutely nothing on the disc and that it just downloads everything. So we're going to go and test that out step by step. Now, as always, what I also plan on doing is taking a look at this in PlayStation 5 Explorer and just seeing what exactly is on the disc and really what firmware is required. So let's go ahead now and start with a jailbroken PlayStation 5. Okay, so I just booted up my PlayStation 5 over here, and this one is going to be running version 12.40, as you can see right there. Now, I have went ahead and gotten jailbroken, so we don't have to waste any time on that. And you can obviously see down here at the bottom, I've got my debug settings. So with that being said, let's go ahead and insert the disk. Okay, you can see it's spinning up here at the top. And now again, this one will go ahead and install whenever you are jailbroken. It is at the max firmware, so it will go ahead and install. Now, obviously, we don't know what version is required just yet, but we'll check on that in just a second. So as we can see down here at the bottom, now this one does not have internet access. We can see that by default, it is copying over 30.15 gigabytes. Without being connected to the internet, there is at least some data that's on the disk. So let's go ahead and explore that. So let's go over to PS5 Explorer here, and we'll go into the root access. We're going to come over here to mount and then disk, and right there are the contents of it. So let's go into the PS5 folder here, and there is going to be an update there. Now we can see the date says April the 8th of 2026. So again, I'm not exactly sure what that one is. We'll find out in just a second. We can go into the app folder, and then if we go to the PPSA folder, we can see that there is indeed some data on the disk. Now, I've been hearing a lot of folks talk about this Halo Combat Evolved game for the PlayStation 5, saying there was just an entitlement on the disk. We can see there's some data that is on there with 35.2 gigabytes and more. Now, inside of this app.json, there really isn't going to be anything that's too interesting for us there. So let's go ahead and go back. We'll go back again. We'll go into BD, and here we'll go into the param.json, and right there we can see it is PPSA 28038. And if we scroll down into this, we can see right there is the required system software version, and that is going to be 13.00. So pretty cool to be able to find that out. So if we just go ahead and go back again, there really isn't much more that we can see. We can see there is a license.txt that riff file on here. So anyways, just wanted to check in with everybody and show what I found out so far with the Halo Campaign Evolved disc. And so also, just for those curious, even after this finishes, the game won't be playable. Okay, let's go ahead and take this over to our PlayStation 5 running the very latest official firmware. Okay, so I'm over here on my PS5 13.60 and I've just popped in the disc here and we can see that it states that I don't have enough free space. So let me go ahead and fix that error really quickly. Okay, so one thing to note here is that it does say that you will need at least 70.57 gigabytes of available space in order to get this one installed. So let me go ahead and fix that. Now we should be able to start copying the game over. So let's go to downloads and uploads and we can see right there 68.567 gigabytes needs to be installed on here. So let's go ahead and let that finish up and we'll just go back over here to our download screen and leave it right here until it finishes. Okay, so it is just about finished up here. Once this completes, we should be able to go ahead and play it here. So let's see if you are able to play the game at least without signing in or anything, which I know there's going to be a sign in prompt because I have been warned about that already. Okay, so here we go. Halo Campaign Evolved for the PS5. So I pressed X on that and it says logging in. We get a photo sensitivity and right there it is. To play Halo Campaign Evolved, you will need to sign in with the Microsoft account and link it to your account for the PlayStation Network. So yeah, the only options you can do here is you can cancel and you can just continue or turn off screen narration. Let's go ahead and cancel. And it says right here, you must complete account login and linking to play Halo Campaign Evolved. So yeah, you can't do anything with the disc until you log in here. So let's press an X on that. Okay, so it states right here, please follow the steps to sign in and link it to your PlayStation Network account. So, okay, so I'm going to head over to the aka.ms Halo account link and here is that page. Now, when I'm on this page, I'm thinking that I'd need to sign in. So I'm just going to hit sign in here. And wow, it wants access to all of these things right here. I'm guessing we're just going to go ahead and just allow it. So I'm going to accept it. And it looks like that didn't do anything. So let me try the Microsoft.com/link. Okay, so we're clicking on that. And now is where we're going to need to enter the code to access it. So I'm going to enter the code that is on this screen right here. And now it says welcome back. And nothing is happening on this screen right here. Surely you don't need to click that button on the Microsoft site. Let's click it, let's go, and let's go back to our PS5 and right there it is. It is signing in now. So are you sure you want to link your account? And it says here, once linked, this action cannot be reversed. And so yeah, you've got to go ahead and I guess put a check mark in here and now you can go to sign in and now and only now will you be able to play the game that you have purchased. This is just an absolutely horrible user experience for people that buy these games. Yeah, and so even now we can see down at the bottom it says download and installation and now it's reporting 127 gigabytes. Well, I guess at least the game will start until that is downloaded. But yeah, you know, this is just an absolute disaster when it comes to any of these physical discs nowadays with not putting the game and the content on them. Just another L for physical game owners here. So anyways, we could go ahead and start up a game. So if we come back to the home screen here, we can see there's just an advertisement over here to buy a premium edition. So wanting another 20 bucks out of you. So yeah, it just really seems like all of these companies are just trying to milk us to death here. Anyways, I hope you liked this video and got something out of it. If you can, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and I'll see you on the next one. Michael.